What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. It's the best one, Donnie here, back with a brand new episode of Wrestling Hot Takes. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, recommend you to hit that subscribe button now. Turn on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO. And of course, you already know, the grind is real. And I figured for this week's episode of Hot Takes, I would give you guys my overall thoughts on AEW's Full Gear. That took place last night in the Credential Center in New Jersey. And in case you guys are probably wondering why my voice sounds probably a little different, it's because I have been yelling a lot yesterday. Not only did I do the watch along for Full Gear, and I probably overreacted when MJF won the championship. So happy for him to finally be champion, and we can finally, pick the momentum back up with AEW. But I also went to a show last night for Blitzkrieg Pro before, Full Gear happened in Enfield, Connecticut at the Pierogi Hall. And in case you guys don't know what Blitzkrieg Pro is, it is, a wrestling independent promotion in our area, and We Are Wrestling. We sponsor, some of their matches over there, and we have a whole playlist on the channel of matches we sponsored that I really recommend you guys to go check out. And if you guys want to go a little bit further and you're not really in our area to watch these shows, I recommend you to get a subscription to IWTV, where you can watch the Blitzkrieg Pro shows live when they're happening. And yeah, I definitely have been, I've been nonstop, watching wrestling and, working all day yesterday. So I took some time. That's why this video is coming out a little late. But the grind is real, and I don't want to miss an episode of Hot Takes. Because this is where I don't have Danny or Ben interrupting me or anybody interrupting me. And I can give you guys my takes on things without being freaking interrupted. So, with that being said, let's get into Full Gear. So, my overall thoughts on this pay-per-view. Going into the pay-per-view, I was not excited at all for this, except for the MJF and Jon Moxley match, and same with Saraya and Britt Baker. A lot of the other matches, I felt like a lot of them were last-minute booking, and some of the storylines that actually did have storytelling involved, I felt like the stories were very stale. Like Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. I feel like a lot of people are just over the storyline of it, and they just wanted to get to the match. But now, talking about the pay-per-view, all these matches, I think, really over-delivered, and I think we had great matches overall throughout the entire night. And I think that Tony Khan did a really good job with the booking decisions that he made on this show. Except for one match that I will get into in a little bit. But I gotta say, this pay-per-view, I think, for AEW was definitely one of their best pay-per-views overall. I really enjoyed, the 0 hour, which, usually that's the pre-show before the, pay-per-view. I really like the fact that they had, best friends going against the Factory. I'm glad to see the Factory actually get an opportunity to compete in front of a pay-per-view crowd, only because they are always on Dark and Elevation, and, a lot of people don't really pay attention to those shows, and they're there, week in and week out. They're not complaining about it, and for them to get an opportunity on the 0 hour, I think that is well-deserved. And it's cool also to see Eddie Kingston, wrestle again against, another New Japan guy. But I feel like with Eddie Kingston, it's time to, get him a solid feud in AEW that's not Chris Jericho. I think we definitely need to get Eddie Kingston's, gears rolling in a little bit. And I feel like a lot of these guys after, this pay-per-view, they got some momentum, which is a good thing. And hopefully, we do not keep focusing on these, forbidden doors like Ring of Honor and New Japan on Dynamite. We need to focus on AEW and continue building the product. And I feel like I know that's not going to probably happen because we have Final Battle coming up in a couple weeks, but I feel like it would just be better overall if AEW just focused on AEW and Ring of Honor just gets their TV deal already, because I feel like it's not just me, but you guys are also tired of it. I gotta say, too, the Elite and Death Triangle, I was actually very shocked with the booking decision in that match, because going into that match, I did think that the Elite were going to get their tag team titles back, or the trio tag belts back, because, of course, they got the title stripped from them, and, they never technically lost the titles. So I thought, because of the whole suspension thing, that they would probably, try to get the titles back right away, but doesn't look like that. Death Triangle got the win over them on pay-per-view, which, for me to see that the Elite, are putting over Death Triangle in that match, I really gotta, take my hat off for them for doing that. And I gotta say, the crowd, you guys are a bunch of savages for chanting "fuck CM Punk." If I was there, I probably would have been doing that too. But, of course, I spent my money being front row for Bridgeport, Connecticut's Dynamite, and I didn't have enough to go to New Jersey, unfortunately, for this event. But that's alright, because the vlog for Bridgeport, Connecticut should be coming out hopefully on Tuesday or Wednesday. Definitely trying to get it out for Tuesday for you guys, because it's going to be a really good vlog. But I gotta say, I'm very happy, with the booking decision there. And they did announce that there's going to be a 7-match series with Death Triangle and the Elite. And I think that this is actually a really good idea, because in wrestling, you don't really get these 7-match series. The last time, I think, in professional wrestling, we got a solid 7-match series was back in 2017. Cesaro versus Sheamus. They put on a great 7-match series, and it really, elevated both of the talent at the time, and then they became the Bar and had a pretty solid tag team championship run. I think, having a 7-match series with the Elite and Death Triangle, it's going to be very interesting to see, and I like it because that's why, for me as a AEW fan, I started enjoying the product, because I really like the sports combat base of the product, and they kind of got away from that since Cody Rhodes, left AEW. But having a 7-match series is pretty cool. It reminds me of, the NBA playoffs, because they go into 7 games with the Elite and Death Triangle for these trio belts. They're going to be doing, a 7-match series, which I think we're really going to get some really good matches out of these. And I'm very excited to see, how this goes. I think this will definitely open up some doors for some future, matches. Really like it. One bad booking decision that I did not like at all on the show, and it's honestly probably my only critique, was the triple threat match for the TNT Championship. Wardlow defending the title against Powerhouse Hobbs versus Samoa Joe. I was not happy at all with that booking decision, giving Joe the TNT title, because he already has the ROH television title. And I feel like there's no point at all for Samoa Joe to be the TNT champion. I think that championship should be for guys like Powerhouse Hobbs. And I wouldn't have been upset if Powerhouse Hobbs won the title, but I am kind of disappointed that Wardlow is not the champion anymore. I'm sure they did that because he really wasn't being used properly, which freaking sucks, and I don't know how he lost all that momentum that he picked up, from being the TNT champion. But I really hope that the Samoa Joe TNT title run isn't going to last forever, because I feel like, actual mid-card guys should be having the TNT title, not Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is a main event guy. He should be, trying to go against other guys that are main event, worthy, and, try to have his eyes set on the AEW World title. Or keep focusing on your Ring of Honor television title. But I feel like, they gave up on Wardlow's title run too soon. I really didn't like when they booked Wardlow with FTR. It kind of took a lot away from the TNT title. And the TNT title should not be in 6-man tag matches with other people, or even tag matches. he should be doing the open challenges, and that is something that why, like, I'm kind of upset that he lost the title, because the last couple weeks he has been, he's pretty much been doing the TNT Open Challenge matches, and that's one, booking decision that I was glad Tony Khan was bringing back, because don't fix something that's not broken. Cody Rhodes had the TNT title back in the early days of AEW, and he would do these open challenges, and we got guys like Ricky Starks and Eddie Kingston out of it, and some really good overall matches. And I think, I'm surprised that they didn't do this when Wardlow won the title right away. I think it would have, really elevated him. AEW's got a lot of mid-card guys that can accept the open challenge, and they get a chance to be on TV, and everybody wins. But I feel like they gave up too soon on Samoa Joe, or giving the title to Joe. I am excited to see what he does with the title and him being a heel now. I feel like Samoa Joe works better as a heel, but I feel like the man should not be the TNT title holder. And I really hope that, Swerve or Keith Lee can get the title next. I think Keith Lee would be a great TNT champion, but obviously now that they broke up, we got to see what happens between Swerve and Keith Lee. I think that these two are going to be very big stars in AEW pretty soon, and we really got to see what they have in store for us. Now, the last thing I want to talk about here on Hot Takes is the main event from Full Gear, MJF versus Jon Moxley. And I got to say, this match really did surprise me. I think that these guys had a solid wrestling match. I was expecting there to be blood, but there really wasn't any blood in this match. And overall, I think these two put on a great match. And I think the one time that they could have used blood was in this match, because, of course, MJF and Mox were really going deep in their promos, talking about how violent they were going to go into this main event. So I'm very surprised there really wasn't blood in the main event. Kind of disappointed, actually. But I think the reason why they didn't want to do it was because there's been a lot of criticism with Jon Moxley bleeding every match he wrestles. But you got to do the blood at the right time, and this would have been the right time, in my opinion. I am very happy with the decision that they made, having William Regal turn on the Blackpool Combat Club and giving MJF the brass knucks. I predicted it, baby. And MJF, got the 1, 2, 3, and, the devil has tricked everybody. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed that booking decision there with MJF. He definitely deserves to be the AEW World Champion. It's definitely his time. And I really think MJF could definitely bring it, the ratings back up. And, he's a homegrown AEW talent, day one, not a former WWE guy, and right now he is the needle mover. He is doing something that a lot of other people aren't doing. And I think everything that he's saying on the mic is absolute facts. He is a generational talent. He is the best right now in professional wrestling. And a lot of people, say he's the best heel in the business. That's just them sugarcoating it, all right? Because this is why I want to talk about this on Hot Takes. And I've already said it before on, the We Are Wrestling talk show. I'm sure I've already said it on Hot Takes on a previous episode. I've been saying it for quite a long time. MJF is right now the best professional wrestler, period, in the business. There's nobody that is better than MJF. Nobody can lace the man's boots, all right? That is 100% facts. MJF can work any style match and make it work. And if you don't believe me, go back on YouTube after you watch this episode of Hot Takes and go do your research, because MJF put on a great match with Darby Allin that was very different. You got to go to watch the Double or Nothing match with MJF and Jungle Boy. They worked a very unique match. Jon Moxley and him, they worked an actual wrestling match, and it was, very slow pace because they wanted, to really get, the big reaction for MJF winning the title. And they did it the right way. They had Moxley, take the advantage, like, when the away team gets more points than the home team, and, the away team, silence the crowd. That is exactly what they did in this situation, and the world title payoff and the William Regal, turning on him, all worked out perfectly. MJF can work any style match. The man, obviously, there's nobody better than him on the microphone. And you got to realize, MJF, if you have been watching AEW, tell me what storylines have been better in a pay-per-view than an MJF one. I'm waiting. Exactly my point. And that is why MJF deserves to be the AEW World Champion. The man has busted his ass to get to where he's at today. And I gotta say, MJF is going to be carrying AEW for years to come. And I really definitely could see MJF re-signing with AEW in 2024. I think it's really going to happen. TK, didn't give him the contract extension, but gave him the money that he deserves to be making. He now gave him the AEW World Championship, and he's really, MJF is grabbing that brass ring right now in AEW, and it's awesome to see. And I cannot wait to see what happens from here on out, because, of course, Ethan Page, he's in the World Title Eliminator, so we could see if the firm has been working with MJF or not. I think right now what they need to do is keep the firm away from MJF, because I feel like Ethan Page is really doing amazing right now in the role that he is given, being pretty much like the top wrestler in that group. And I think Stokely has definitely, been a pretty good asset for him. But overall, I really enjoyed Full Gear. Definitely one of my favorite pay-per-views this year. And I'm glad that, Chaz was here with me to do the watch-along, and also Danny Huckins as well. He was here as well in the watch-along as well, and we all got to witness this historic moment. Finally, MJF is the champion, and it feels so good. Still hasn't hit me yet, but let me know in the comment section below, guys, what your thoughts were on AEW Full Gear. If you guys enjoyed this week's episode of Hot Takes, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. The links are down in the description below. You can go follow me on my social medias and other YouTube pages. All that down below. Also, We Are Wrestling. We're very active right now on our social media pages. TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go follow us over there if you want to see shorter clips of, the talk shows and the videos on here. But to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, MJF is better than you, and you know it. And of course, you already know, we are taking over. Peace.